Details. Do they matter? Why do they matter? And should your photographer be capturing them for you? Hi, I'm DeLine, wedding photographer, and your trusted wedding vendor to give you solid, straightforward, and honest advice. So let's get into it. Everybody talks about details. There was a phase a few years ago where like details were everything and they all looked pretty similar. But now you're creating an event that's unique. It's not the same exact as the Pinterest board that everybody else has done. So you want to make yours unique. This is how you're going to do it. We're going to go through all the things to do with your details and why they matter, why some things don't matter, and what to include, what not to include, how to set you up for success, how to set your photographer up for success with your details. So people think, why do I need to have photos of my shoes and of my invitations? We have couples, we give you the choice, and our couples sit about 50-50. Truly. Some of them are like, I'm never going to hang up that photo, so I don't want it. Other ones are like, these are small, sentimental items that are physically small that I know I'm going to carry with me throughout the day. They meant a lot. I had an amazing stationist that put together amazing invites. Like, I spent money. These mean something to me. And they want photos of them because they're going to include it in their album. Because someday maybe your invitation, you didn't frame it, you didn't get around to it, and it ends up wrinkled or lost somewhere. That's where mine is. So why details matter? Details are these small, physically, a lot of times physically small items that mean a lot. The thing that always comes to my mind when I think of details and that thing that means a lot, that token that means a lot, is I have a lot of brides have things on their bouquet, and it's usually some loved one that is no longer with them or couldn't make it to that day. I had a bride last year, her dad passed away, and she wanted signs for him throughout the day. There was beautiful signs throughout the day. That's a story for another video. But she had a little token of him. His wedding ring was on her bouquet. It was fastened onto her bouquet, and it meant so much to her. But if you don't have that photograph during details, in your details, you're probably going to forget that you had it on your bouquet. Or honestly, your photos aren't necessarily for you right now. They mean more generations down the road, and the next generation is going to look at it and they're not going to know that, hey, where was your dad? Like, oh, he was on my bouquet, and they want to see what you had because maybe they want to do the same thing for their day, so their grandfather's with them. I don't know. That's just one scenario. So there's small tokens that mean a lot to you. Or honestly, you spent money on it and you want to remember that you spent money on it. It means something, okay? When you get invitations, especially your custom invitations, oh my gosh, invitations are stunning. And they should be remembered. But if they are not photographed, there's something that takes place, are used, they're not used on the day of your wedding. They are not used on the day of your wedding. They are sent out ahead of time. They're the precursor to your wedding. So you're save the dates and your invitations. But if you spent good money on an amazing stationist to put this together, and they're beautiful, maybe your envelope opens and it's a watercolor of your venue, or they're just custom, they're beautiful, they're stunning. You love these things. You spent hours and lots of money to make these. And the only way they're going to end up in your album or anything around your wedding is if they're photographed. So things that you should include in your details. Let's get into that. First off, your invitation. But don't just bring one, because I am sure your invitation is not only one-sided. Most of them are not. Give at least two full, complete sets. I'm talking if you have a nice ribbon that goes around with a wax seal, if you have even your envelope, we want multiple envelopes. So one of your envelopes can be, you don't have to address it, anything. It's going to be like, especially if you have something when you open up your invitation and it's beautiful on the inside, like you spent time creating the inside of your envelope, have one that's unaddressed and then have one that's addressed. But don't use someone you love's address. Either use your own or create a fake one, because your photographer is going to take these photos, and the likelihood of those photos ending up on social media, depending on your photographer, are pretty likely. So what I would do is I would either, if you want to use your own name and then maybe don't use your exact address, that's perfectly fine. We're here for safety. And I also encourage couples that on that envelope that has everything addressed on it, put some cute stamps on it. Like, Collect some vintage stamps, maybe where you're gonna go on your honeymoon, maybe where you got married, not married, but where you got engaged, something like that. Put something fun on there that's somewhat meaningful, right? Like let's have fun with this. It doesn't have to be stiff and proper. So your invitations, you're gonna have 2 just to make sure we got all the details, the fronts and backs of everything. So that way in your, we call it a flat lay. In the wedding industry, but your detail photos, no one else calls them a flat lay. In your detail photos, we can have all of the aspects. You spent money on them, you spent time hard. It was a big decision to make these and make them so they fit your wedding. And if they're custom, you want to remember these things, okay? So you're gonna have your invitation. Next, you're gonna have your rings. Ahead of your wedding, set aside your bands. When you have your bands together, set them aside. Do not take your engagement ring off and put it with all of your details. Keep that bad boy on. Keep your engagement ring on, whether it's a band, whether it's a solitaire, whatever it is, keep it on you because you're used to wearing it. And we need to reduce one less thing that you're worried about and panicked about on your wedding day than feeling down on your hand and being like, oh my God, where's my ring? Okay, we don't need to feel that. Keep it on you. Set aside any jewelry that you're going to be wearing, whether that's really nice cufflinks, whether that's necklace, whether that's a bracelet, earrings, whatever it is that you're going to be wearing on your wedding day, set it aside. Big tip, decide what you are going to wear on your wedding day before your wedding day. Reduce the amount of decisions that you have to make on your wedding day. Do not hand your photographer 4 sets of earrings. Do not hand your photographer 3 sets of necklaces and be like, well, I'm not really sure yet. Because you know what we got to do? We got to take one of each. Because if we just pick the one that we think would look good on you, and then you don't wear it, then you have details that don't matter. You're going to look back at them and be like, oh, I didn't wear that necklace. Make these decisions ahead of time. I'm saying if you need to, in your final dress fitting, or maybe when you get it home, you spend a little time and you put your dress on so you guys run through a dress rehearsal of putting everything on, or if it's your custom suit, do a run through of your outfit before your wedding day. Make all the decisions revolving around what you're going to look like so that you can walk into your wedding day confidently and not have to make more decisions. Don't make more decisions for yourself than you have to, because even with your planner, even with your photographer, even with really great vendors, at some point you're gonna have to make a decision. Let's reduce those, okay? Let's chill, okay? You're going to take a day beforehand, put your outfit on, whether that's your custom suit, whether that's a nice dress, whatever that is, put it on ahead of time. One, you will be able to figure out how everything comes together. Your getting ready process will be really easy with whoever is helping you get in your outfit. Have that person come to your house, meet up ahead of time, whatever it is, put it on. Decide all the things you're going to wear for jewelry so that when you put that aside and hand it to your photographer, you're not handing them multiple things, because that is highly annoying as a wedding photographer. Put all the jewelry to the side, very meaningful mementos. Like I had a handkerchief made from my grandfather's favorite shirt. It's one of my absolute favorite things. And that's what I had with my details. So all those little mementos, have it with your details. Include your shoes. If you have a veil, include your veil. Like I said, if you have really nice cufflinks, include them. If you are wearing a really nice bow tie or tie of some sort, some fun socks, your dress shoes, whatever you are wearing on you as an accessory, not your whole outfit, as you're an accessory, you have that with it. I want to talk about things you should not include in your details and things that maybe even your photographer shouldn't include. There was a period of time, and maybe it's still going on and I just don't really know, but that people would include cute little scissors, and everybody has the same little extra little, I don't know, little trinket in there. If the item doesn't make sense, do not have it in your detail photos. The scissor, I never understood. Why in the heck is there a scissor next to an invitation that you paid a lot of money for? It makes no sense. Some people are like, oh, they have ribbon in there. I don't even always include ribbon in my things anymore, because sometimes and most of the time, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the wedding. Every flat lay should look different. And if this is my opinion, take it or leave it, but if you're looking at a photographer's portfolio and their flat lays look all the same, it means they know how to do the same thing over and over and over, which if you like that, cool, go with it. But no weddings are the same. I have never done 2 of the exact same detail photos, flat lays, in my entire career, and I've been doing this for 9 years. What you shouldn't include. Don't include things that don't make sense for your wedding. Also include a separate little maybe box or something that has the details that are important in your reception as well. And I think this is something that people miss. A lot of people will do, you know, your accessories that you're wearing, your invitation, those are normal. But what I think people miss is that you also spent a lot of time handcrafting items, small items for your reception. And you should have them for the beginning of your day when your photographer does your detail photos. I'm talking things like if you have cute stirs, if you have created place settings that and name settings for each one that are very unique, that are handcrafted. I recently saw one where it was like a really cute like half circle, and it had all the menu things in there. It was like it was an actual like physical cute little name tag. Include those. Include those for your details so that your photographer can get them while they have time right there. Not saying they won't get them during your reception. I love to get the reception details in the wild, as I call them. I like to get them as people are using them, or maybe like it's at the reception, like the cool vibes, the moody vibes of like having all the direct big lighting that's there, or if you have up lighting. It is really cool to get that in the wild. But say for instance, I don't have time for that. This ensures that you have that captured. So include things from your reception, like if you have cute napkins, if you, like I said, stirs, anything that is smaller at your wedding, that like your menus. Menus include too, because you're going to do front and back for them. Even for your ceremony, if you have some type of like program or cute memento item that each of your guests is going to get, or as a memento item for the two of you at your ceremony, include it. Just think of like, what are the small details that I've spent money on and time on, or are very meaningful to me, and put them in with your details. I want to get into what not to include in your details, because I think this is really important. It is a huge pet peeve of mine to see detail photos that have things in them that make no sense for a wedding or no sense for that particular wedding. There are photographers that do the same exact detail photo for every single wedding, and that's their gig, that's fine. I believe and know that each wedding is completely different. In the 9 years I've been doing this, and over 200 and some weddings that I've been doing this, none of them have been the same. None of them have the same details, none of them have the same vibe, none of them are the same. And they're not the same humans. Include things that make sense. So don't include things like, there was at one point, people include like a cute little pair of like scissors in there, or the same like postage stamps, or the same trinkets in every single flat lay. If it doesn't make sense for your wedding, you shouldn't have to, like, why are scissors next to an invitation? I've never understood it. Come at me if you want to. I never got it. Some people might say, oh, because there's ribbon in there, but not every wedding, ribbon doesn't make sense. I have ribbon, sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. It really depends on the vibe of the wedding, of your aesthetic. So include things that make sense. If you're, make sure you communicate to your photographer. We have couples communicate to us all the time. They're like, this is the stuff that means things to us. And these are these special mementos. I'm not gonna include a random pair of scissors or like a felt pen. When have you written with a felt pen? Because I sure haven't. Don't include things that don't make sense for your wedding. Include things that you will either use on your wedding or before your wedding, like your invitations, and accessories that you'll have on you for the day. Like, these should be things that actually make sense for your day. So when you look back on them in 30 years, you're not going to say, oh, my photographer was just really into scissors. Those aren't even my scissors. I don't even like to use a lot of my own things. I like to use details that are in your wedding. If I add a little ribbon, that might be the extent of what I add. If you are doing a fun themed wedding, like I know I had a disco wedding a few years ago, so much fun. I brought little tiny discos with me, disco balls, because I thought that would be really cute in their details. It was, turns out, it's applicable to the wedding. Whatever you have in your details, the number one thing is please make sure they make sense for your wedding and they are actually present at your wedding. Next, I wanna chat about the dress photo. I got some feelings on this as a photographer. There are many dresses that do not look good by themselves on a hanger. First, if you have a dress that has, say you have a lace material at the top and they sewed in cups for your tatas, putting that dress on a hanger and hanging it up, it just looks weird because all I'm staring at are your tata cups, okay? It looks weird. I'm gonna say it. I've said it to my brides and they appreciate the honesty. Other times, like if you have a dress that has a lot of structure to it, has like a satin, has a lot of structure, a lot of classic dresses have this, a lot of good, really good structure here. They can sit on a hanger really well. But if you have a dress that has a lot of movement to it and maybe is like more of like a satin dress that doesn't have a lot of structure to it, it's very whimsical, it's not gonna look the same on a hanger as it looks on you. So I am very cautious about the dress photo. It is first What kind of structure does that dress have? Does it have structure? If it doesn't, it's not gonna look good. If it does, okay, can we put it up on the hanger? Does it look good? Also, if you don't have a really nice hanger, I'm not gonna take a picture of your dress, because I'm not gonna use some hotel hanger, I'm not gonna use some plastic hanger, I'm not gonna use some weird felted hanger that doesn't look right. It just doesn't. So if you're not prepared and say, hey, some people have a hanger that maybe, you know, their future mother-in-law gave them and it has their new last name on it or something, like that's cute, I'll put it on there. Another thing is, with your dress, I am not gonna go hang it out on a tree. I'm not going to go hang it somewhere weird. All your details for your day, including your detail photos, should make sense for your day. I don't want to hang your dress up in a freaking tree if that don't make sense for your day. And I don't know as if I've ever shot a wedding that it makes sense for a dress to be in a tree, because it almost looks ghostly. I'll say it. Maybe nobody else is. It looks ghostly. It just does. Also, with hanging up a dress, if you're getting ready in like a hotel room, there's very limited places that we can hang that dress without causing damage to your hotel. And Lord knows, a photographer should never, ever, 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 or any vendor or any of your people in your wedding party, no one should ever be hanging anything from the sprinkler system that comes out of the wall. It looks like really enticing. That'd be a great place to hang things, but it will utterly ruin your day when they hang it on there and all the water starts spraying everywhere. So don't do it, okay? We've all seen the TikToks, we've all seen the reels of it. Don't do it. So just know that if you're in a hotel room and this is something you really, really want, when you are going to this hotel room to book it for your getting ready space, check out the area. See if there is a spot that a hanger can be hung, okay? And in a lot of places, I'm located in Virginia, so we have a lot of historical places, and sometimes there's just not space to do it. Again, same thing with details. I have couples who are on the fence of whether or not they want their attire photographed while they're not in it. Dresses and suits and attire look so much better on someone than it does on a hanger. Always, 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 always. Your dress will not look as stunning as it does when it's not on your body. Your suit will not look as good as it does until it's on your body. Just know that. This is my PSA, is that sometimes the dress by itself looks a little haunting and it doesn't look as good. It'll never sit as right, but when it gets on you, looks so good. I want to give you a little tip. So what we tell all of our couples before your wedding day, there's certain things you can take care of. So like you free up a little bit of space in your brain. That's something I teach all of my couples, like, hey, here's some tips you can do in the photography department that take things out of your brain, gives you a little bit more space in there, and they're taken care of and you know where they are. That makes things easy. One of the things our couples really love the big tip that we give them, create a box or a bag. I like the box because it keeps everything really nicely protected. Whether it's a plastic box, I've even had shoe boxes, it does not matter. Give yourself a box and start putting your details into that box ahead of your wedding. If you put the details in there, number one, you can create a list and put everything in there. You can take that checklist off your brain ahead of your wedding and give you a little bit more space. But what's also nice is that when we show up to photograph your day, my couples, they hand me a box. And they're not running around getting all different things from all different places, trying to find everything. Then they're getting stressed. And hair and makeup's got to pause. Or, sometimes my grooms have barbers come in. The barber's got to stop doing what they do. And you got to get all your stuff. That's stressful. Again, let's reduce the amount of stress on your wedding by doing little things that make sense and make things smooth, especially for the getting ready portion. This is a time when, you think to yourself like, oh, we're going to be hanging out. It's going to be really fun. The vibe's going to be great. Yes, but you are also nervous. You are nervous and you are stressed. Even with the best of planners and the best of venues or vendors, you're stressed. It's a stressful time because you have all this you're leading up to and all this excitement, all of this, emotions and this energy leading up to it. So you're stressed. Let's reduce the stress. Have everything in a box. So all you got to do is hand it. And that includes everything from your invitations, any extra little mementos you want in there. If you choose to say, oh, I've got this ribbon and it looks really cute, I would love to have it pop it in there. Everything, even your shoes. Your shoes can be a second box, but have them together. And then maybe have it right by your veil if you have a veil you want hanging up, or if you have, I have grooms that have custom suits. And so the inside of it will have something really nice, whether that's a pattern or I've had people have the photos. It's really cool. And have that all together, but have it in one spot, okay? Do that ahead of time, have it sitting pretty and waiting, but keep that engagement ring or engagement band on. A couple tips I want to give you, things that your photographer should be doing for details. With details, you'll find, I always joke with our couples, is that you'll find me on a floor in front of a good light source. Or if you have a really cute venue that has either cute flooring with a pattern on it, I kind of do, I call them dirty flat lays. I probably should call them something else, but that's too fun. Some do's for photographing details. So I like to always tell couples is that you're going to find me somewhere on a floor in front of a good light source, or in front of, or on top of like a fun floor, or something that really fits with your decor of your wedding, decor of your venue. I really want things to be applicable, okay? And if for some reason you're gonna do like some fun and wild colors, I might use a neutral backdrop so your colors pop on top of it, but it still makes sense. What they should be doing is using details that make sense for your wedding, that makes sense for your wedding, that makes sense for the scene of details of which they're working for, and then makes sense for the two of you, because at the end of the day, everything about this day should be about the two of you and make sense. So when you look back on it in 20 to 30 years, you're gonna say, that looks and feels like us, and that starts with details. Some things that should not be done with detail photos. And this is me working with a lot of vendors. I love to collaborate with vendors. I love to talk to them. I love to get insight. I love to hear like, oh, hey, you don't like when someone does that? Why? Tell me about it. And then I learn more. So I've spent a lot of time with the insanely talented individuals who create invitations. And there's some things that are do's and don'ts, even in that department. So for detail photos, you're not gonna find that my work is gonna include, at least not in the last few years, because after I learned this, I couldn't unsee it. Your shoes shouldn't be on your invitations. Why would the bottom of your shoes be on your invitations? Because if you think about it, if you're doing that, it just means you're walking over your invitations, and those invitations matter. You spent good money and good time creating those invitations. Your shoes should not be on them. I'm even up in the air about the viral trend that ran around last year, 2 years ago, where someone put the invitation in the water. Because that's like basically, it doesn't make sense. If you're not having a tropical wedding, a coastal wedding, a wedding that's on the water, I don't think that is very applicable. Also, it's very ballsy. If you only have one invitation and you ruin that invitation, I'm all for creativity. I just think, again, it has to apply with what that wedding is, what it's created around, what the vibe of it is, what the scene of it is, if that makes sense. I don't think your dirty shoes should end up in your detail photos. I love your shoes, but they shouldn't be dirty. And you're probably saying, Kat, how do I break them in? Here's a tip. Break them in by wearing socks. Wear your shoes around your house, get used to them. I don't think the first day you wear your shoes should be the day of your wedding, because your legs and your feet and your hips and all the things will be really angry at you by the end of the day. Wear them around your house, but put a pair, whether it's a thin pair of socks or if you need to stretch them out a little bit, thicker socks, but put on a pair of socks. And walk around in them. That protects the soles of your shoes so that when we photograph them, they're not dirty toes on them. You know what I mean? I don't want to touch that. You don't want to touch that. Your bottoms can be scuffed up, which I think is probably a smart idea, especially if you're going to be wearing your shoes all the way through your reception and you're going to be dancing them and whatever, just so you don't slip around. Scuff them up. That's fine. It is very rare that I'm going to photograph the bottom of your shoes unless they are a type of shoe in which the bottom color is very important. That's where it matters. Wear your shoes around your house with socks on so that when we take detail photos, you don't have dirty shoes in them. I will say the exception to this is at the end of a reception, I've done this where I had a wedding day where a couple had, in the middle of their ceremony, clouds opened up and it downpoured. They had a really great position on the wedding and it really meant something to them. It was a beautiful experience for them for this, and I love my couples for this. So by the time we got to the reception, her shoes were kind of not muddy in like a gross way, but like you could tell that they were wet, and like her feet had been wet and a little dirty. And so I did this really fun, like I call it dirty flat lay at the reception, where it's kind of like where there's like shoes and he had taken off his tie, and I had like a half drinking espresso martini and a couple of like fun details. Oh, and I had cake that was half eaten too. And I had their fork in it, and it was really cute. That makes sense. Dirty shoes at the beginning of the day don't make sense. So put socks on them, break them in, and that way when you are having all of your details sitting in front of you in these photos, they don't look dirty. Another great tip that you should do before your wedding day for your detail photos is clean your jewelry. You can go to your jewelry store and get it cleaned professionally, and they really shouldn't charge you. Suggest this: when you go to get your jewelry cleaned, that's great, but also snag one of their, it's a tube and it has a brush on the end of it. And that tube, it puts out a solution, and you I have one in my bag, but maybe not everybody does, where I can clean it, because your ring gets super dirty. It is, I used to work in jewelry, and it's satisfying to watch all the dirt come off, but they are always dirty. So the week of your wedding, go have everything cleaned, and then get one of those little tubes to make sure that your rings and your jewelry can be cleaned if there's anything that kind of gets on them in that week of your wedding. That I think is very important, so that your rings look good, your bracelets look good, your cufflinks look good, your earrings look good, and that way it looks really nice and not dirty in your details. If you enjoyed all these great tips, please like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment about any questions you have concerning details or anything else you want me to cover. But thank you so much for coming here, and we'll see you next time.